happy to have had the privilege of rendering you some slight measure of help in the organization of this splendid course of common sense philosophy. Sincerely yours, former President of Chief Justice, United States. King of the 5 and 10-cent stores. By applying many of the 17 fundamentals of the law of success philosophy, we have built a great chain of success stores. I presume it would be no exaggeration of the fact if I said that the Woolworth building might properly be called the monument to the soundness of these principles. F. W. Woolworth, a great steamship magnate. I feel greatly indebted for the privilege of reading your law of success. If I had this philosophy 50 years ago, I suppose I would have accomplished all that I have done in less than half that time.
Imagine.
I sincerely hope the world will discover and reward you. Robert Dollar.
Imagine he's saying I would have achieved all what I achieved half the time
Literally.
by just knowing this book.
Imagine that, bro. Famous American labor leader. Master of the law of success philosophy is the equivalent of an insurance policy against failure.
Look at that, Samuel. This is, imagine, it's like an insurance. You really think you'll grow rich? It's an insurance policy against failure. Go on.
Samuel Gompers, a former president of the United States. May I not congratulate you on your persistence. Any man who devotes that much time must of necessity make discoveries of great value to others, and deeply impressed by your interpretation of the mastermind principles which you have so clearly described. Woodrow Wilson, a merchant prince. I know that your 17 fundamentals of success are sound because I have been applying them in my business for more than 30 years.
Imagine 30 years.
John Wanamaker, world's largest maker of cameras. I know that you are doing a world of good with your law of success. I would not care to set a monetary value on this training because it brings to the student qualities which cannot be measured by money alone. George Eastman, a national known business chief. Whatever success I may have attained, I owe entirely to the application of your 17 fundamental principles of the law of success.
No, you can skip that. Imagine that.
I can believe
Alright.
you can skip it, yeah? No problem.
No, a second.
Should I start from the top? Publisher preface.
Yeah.
Okay. Publisher's preface. This book conveys the experience of more than 500 men of great wealth.
Very well.
1 second. English is gone, bro.
Go on.
500 men of great wealth who began at scratch with nothing to give in return for riches except thoughts, ideas, and organized plans. Here you have the entire philosophy of making money, just as it was organized from the actual achievements of the most successful men known to the American people during the past 50 years. It describes what to do, also how to do it. It presents the complete instructions on how to sell your personal services. It provides you with a perfect system of self-analysis that will readily disclose what has been standing between you and the big money. In the past, it describes the famous Andrew Carnegie formula of personal achievements by which he accumulated hundreds of millions of dollars for himself and made no fewer than a score of millionaires of men whom he taught his secret.
That's basically thing is mental. Napoleon Hill.
Perhaps you do not need all that is to be found in the book. No one of the 500 men from whose experience it was written did. But you may need one idea, plan, or suggestion to start you toward your goal. Somewhere in the book you will find this needed stimulus. The book was inspired by Andrew Carnegie. After he had made his millions and retired, It was written by the man whom Carnegie disclosed the astounding secret of his riches. The same man to whom 500 wealthy men revealed the source of their riches. In this volume will be found the 13 principles of making money essential to every person who accumulates sufficient money to guarantee financial independence. It is estimated that the research which went into the preparation before the book was written or could be written, research covering more than 25 years of continuous effort, could not be duplicated at a cost of less than $100,000.
Imagine.
Moreover, the knowledge contained in the book never can be duplicated at any cost, for the reason that more than half of those 500 men who supplied the information it brings have passed on.
So you can't duplicate Think and Grow Rich.
Riches cannot always be measured in money.
Right, you want to read my Mojo? You want to go?
Shall I give it to Mojo?
Yeah. Mojo,
Yes,
come.
sir. Yes, sir.
Please.
You gotta be louder though.
Yes, sir.
And then this will go in as a watch lives. No, there, yeah. Yeah, let's finish this and then we go. Alright, go on, stop.
Money and material things are essential for freedom of body and mind, but there are some who will feel the greatest of all riches be evaluated only in terms of lasting friendships, harmonious family relationships, sympathy, and understanding between businesses, associates, and introspective harmony, which brings on one peace of mind measurable only in spiritual values. All who read, understand, and apply this philosophy will be better prepared to attract and enjoy these higher estates, which always have been and always will be denied to all except those who are ready for them. Be prepared, therefore, when you expose yourself to the influence of this philosophy, to experience a changed life, which may help you not only to negotiate your way through life with harmony and understanding, but also to prepare you for the accumulation of materials, riches in abundance.
Okay.
Author's Preface. In every chapter of this book, mentions has been made of the money-making secrets which has made fortunes for more than 500 exceedingly wealthy men, whom I have carefully analysed over a long period of years. The secret was brought to my attention by Andrew Carnegie. More than a quarter of a century ago, the canny, lovable old Scotsman carelessly tossed it into mine when I was but a boy. Then he sat back in his chair with a merry twinkle in his eyes and watched carefully to see if he had brains enough to understand the full significance of what he had said to me. When he saw that I had grasped the idea, I asked if he would be willing to spend 20 years or more preparing myself to take it to the world.
20 plus years, guys. So what happened there is basically what he's saying is Andrew Carnegie, he actually gave him, it's actually recorded that he gave him 1 minute. So he, you know how back in the days he had a watch. Yes. So he put it on his table, put an alarm set for 1 minute, and then he was waiting for 1 minute for Napoleon Hill. He told him this thing might take you 20 plus years to interview 500 of the most successful people in America at the time, and he actually set for 1 minute. And after 20 seconds, this guy grabbed it and he said, "Yeah, I'm up for it." And then he said, "Great, anyways, you only have 40 seconds left." Go on.
Oh, so time of him to
make habits, because that just shows you guys when it comes to making decisions, make them fast. Don't change them.
Decisive.
You're gonna be very decisive. You can't be like, oh, I'm 50 here, I'm 70 here, I'm 99% here. Hey, you
think about it.
You don't. I need to think about it. I need to do my research. No. You're either in or you're out. You're either in or you're out.
Prepare myself to take it to the world. To men and women who, without the secret, might go through life as failures, I said I would, and with Mr. Carnegie Corporation, I have kept my promise. This book contains the secret after having put to a practical test by thousands of people in almost every walk of life. It was Mr. Carnegie's idea for the magic formula, which gave him a stupendous fortune, ought to be placed within reach of people who do not have time to investigate how men make money. And it was his hope that I might test and demonstrate the soundness of the formula through the experience of men and women in every calling. He believed the formula should be taught in all public schools, colleges, and expressed the opinion that if it were properly taught, it would so revolutionize the entire educational system that the time spent in school can be reduced to less than a half.
That's what Dale Carnegie's believe basically.
That's facts, because I'd rather know about Think and Grow Rich, how I can change my life through studying people who have been successful
Macbeth
for
and
many years,
Jekyll and Hyde.
than Macbeth and
Frankenstein.
what was it called? And Frankenstein and 6 feet or what?
Macbeth.
Macbeth.
Oh, that's facts, bro. His experience with Charles Schwab and other young men of Mr. Schwab's type convinced Mr. Carnegie that much of this, which is taught in the living of accumulating riches in the school, there is no value whatsoever, in connection with businesses of earning a living or accumulating riches. He had arrived at this decision because he had taken into the business of one young man after another, many of them with little schooling, and by coaching them in the use of this formula, developing them into rare leadership. Moreover, his coaching made fortunes to everyone of them who followed his instructions. So guys who had like very little schooling,
Followed Andy Carnegie.
but had Carnegie someone who's literally willing to show them, how they can find like their path to freedom.
Carnegie is one of a kind, I think. Imagine if we had Carnegie right now.
Deeper shade, bro. These guys had little schooling, bro, and they just had they were just coachable, and they had a coaching from elite leaders.
The
and that changed their
coachable
life.
had burning desire and were mental.
He's saying that this book can literally make school come down to three years maybe.
Yeah.
I agree with it. So let's say high school was 5 years education, then 2 years, 6 or whatever. That's what 7
So
years.
we went to school for no reason.
And
But let's finish the book and then we come to conclusion.
we'll come to that, don't worry. But what he's saying makes sense, because these guys had a little schooling but just coaching by elites, and now they become elite leaders who are rare. And I'm pretty sure guys who spent years and years in education and this guy who's been coaches, they're on 2 different playing fields. I'm sure you can agree on that.
Yep.
In the chapter on faith, you will read the astounding story of the organization of the giant United States School Corporation, as it was conceived and carried out by one of the young men through whom Mr. Carnegie proved that Think and Grow Rich. His formula will work for all who are ready for it. If you're not ready, my friend, forget it. The single application of the secret by the young man, Charles Schwab, made him a huge fortune in both money and opportunity. Roughly speaking, this particular application of the formula was worth $600 million.
Oh, so what he's about to say right now was worth $600 million. 19 something, guys.
That means that today's money is more than 600.
Alright, let's see,
What?
go on.
These facts, and they are facts well known to almost everyone who knew Mr. Carnegie, give you a fair idea of what the reading of this book may bring to you. Prove that you know what is that you want. Even before it had undergone 20 years of practical testing, the secret was passed on to more than 100,000 men and women to have used it for their personal benefit. As Mr. Carnegie planned that they should somewhat have made fortune with it. Others have used it successfully in creating harmony in their homes. A clergyman used it so effectively that he brought him an income up towards $75 million a year. Arthur Nash, a Cincinnati tailor, used this near bankrupt business as a guinea pig on which to test the formula. The business used as guinea pig. The business came to life and made a fortune for its owner. It's still thriving. Although Mr. Nash has gone, the experiment was so unique that newspapers and magazines The experiment was so unique and newspapers and magazines have gave it more than $1 million worth of laudatory publicity. The secret has passed on to Stuart Austin Wire of Dallas, Texas. He was ready for it, so ready that he gave up his profession and studied law. Did he succeed? The story is told too. I gave the secret of Jennings Randolph the day he graduated from college, and he used it so successfully that he's now serving his third term as member of Congress with an excellent opportunity to keep on using it until he carries him to the White House. While serving as advertising manager of the LaSalle Extension University, when it was little more than a name, I had the privilege of seeing J.G. Chafflin, president of the university, use the formula so effectively that he has since made the LaSalle one of the great